All right, so I have two braids, two 4-ounce sections of wool here, and I am, as I untangle this, I am, let's get my hair out of here. Come on, get off. Okay. I am using a photo inspiration, which I will show you or have already showed you, for this particular colorway. I'm really excited about it because it fits perfectly with October. Now, these braids, I usually don't do it this way. These have been soaking. I need to put the lid on the other one so I don't splash color on it. But these are not even. Okay. These have been soaking. I'm so distracted right now. These have been soaking in vinegar water for about an hour, because that's how long it took for me to get everything together. And the dyes have been sitting for, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe, 30-40 minutes. So they are ready to go. And I've got two different blacks. It's the same dye, but I added some orange to one of them. And here you can see the difference. This one's more brown and this one is much more black. So I am going to start with, man, I got dye all over me. All right, I'm going to start with the black. Don't know which one. I'm going to get a little extra water in there. Okay. Now, I did put some vinegar in the black dyes, but not in the orange dyes, because I want the black to strike very, very quickly. Okay, now we're going to put the darker orange. I think I might need more dye. I forgot what it's like to paint. You need the dyes really strong, not a whole lot of water. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to mix these two dyes, the watered down dye. There's some gray. And I'm going to put the rest of the orange that I've got. Ooh, the orange is disappearing in all the black. It's okay. I think it'll still be visible. Okay, I'm going to get some more water. Well, I just put a bunch of black in with the orange, but that's perfectly fine. Let's see. Yeah, there's more color now. Good. All right. Now we cover it up and we turn the heat on. Let's see how we're doing with this one. It's been cooking for a bit, and I'm worried it's going to felt. There's still plenty of dye in here. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. There's a ton of black. I think this is going to bleed quite a lot when I go to wash it. But that's okay. Okay, I just totally messed all that up, but we'll see what happens. There's a little bit of white right there. Interesting. All right. Gonna let that sit and cook for a little while longer. And we'll be back in about an hour to check on it. There's still a lot of dye stuff in here, which I figured it would be. That is black. That is beautiful. You can see the difference. I hope you can see the difference where this black is much more brown, much more easy. Look at all that color though. Like, it didn't absorb anything. I'm gonna have to turn this back on. See if I can get the rest of this color to absorb. Because this is not the color it's supposed to be. Okay, now I've got dye all over me. Alright, so I ended up having to add water and vinegar to this and reheating it to get the dye to set because there wasn't enough acid and the dye refused to adhere to the wool. So this ended up being much more complicated than I had intended it to be, but it was not a failure. And although the fiber turned out matted together, compressed, I was able to fluff it after it had dried, so there were no problems. Thankfully, I'm very, very pleased with that. I am using my Nina soft spin dryer. These are no longer available, but there are other types of spin dryers that you can get. This thing is a freaking lifesaver. It speeds up the drying process so much because it spins out so much of the water. It's just wonderful. Anyway, back to the topic. The dye that is now coming out of the fiber, that is excess dye that the fiber simply could not absorb. There's only so much dye the fiber will take, and after that, it just won't take anymore. So I knew there was more dye than the fiber could handle, and I knew there would be what would appear to be a lot of bleeding, although that's really not what it is. It's just excess dye that needs to be washed out. So I decided to do a lot of extra. So instead of doing one wash, one rinse, I did a pre-soak, which is what I'm doing right here, right now. And then when I'm done with this one, I will do a wash and then 2 rinses. And I am giving these soaks extra time to just sit there because I wanted to make sure that any excess dye and all of the excess dye would indeed come out, and that did work. So when I believe that the dyes are going to bleed, I will soak the fiber for a significant amount of time to make sure all the excess dye goes ahead and comes out. Any bleeding that's going to happen initially will go ahead and happen. I only use cold tap water for this. I do not use warm or hot water because the hotter your water, the more dye will come away from the fiber. So If you have excessive bleeding, it could be because you're using hot or warm water. So I only use cold, and I highly recommend that when you're dealing with hand-dyed products that you use cold water only. Also, a tip when you're washing your woolen items, if you'll throw just a little bit of vinegar in your water before you put your product in there, your finished item, you will be less likely to have bleeding. As you can see, there's not a lot of color coming out now. I will show you this with every stage. So I show you how the water changes color, how clear it gets, all of that. So you get to see the entire process, all the results. But I did speed this up to double time speed just because it took a really long time to do, and I didn't want you to sit here and get bored watching me soak, spin, refill, soak, spin. Here you can see the soap separated out the excess dye that was stubbornly clinging, and the water is gray. But at the end, the water is completely clear and we're all good. Like right now, the water's clear. This was the last rinse. I kind of skipped the third one, the first rinse. My brain does not know what order we're doing things in, but that is okay. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on new videos. And as always, leave your comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below. And I am going to let you go with a photo at the end of this beautiful fiber all dry and braided up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys!